This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, and you're listening to Python's Paradise, your film and music show, and this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, I have a wonderful guest on here today, a very beautiful woman, and she is among three beautiful women I've had from this one movie. I'm talking about Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. I've had Melanie Kinnaman on here. I've had Tiffany Helm on here. Well, folks, I have the beautiful and talented Debi Sue Voorhees. How you do, Debbie? Want me to call you Debi Sue or Deborah?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. I don't mind either. Normally people call me Deborah, but Debi Sue is just fine. If that's what you prefer.
You know, how is it you feel about having the Voorhees last name, huh?
It is just pure coincidence. I don't know how they found the name, but it's a very long, old family name from Holland. Way back. I know it goes at least back to the 1300s. No. I know it goes way back before that because we only arrived in this country, let's see, I think it was in the 1300s that we arrived, but it might have been the 15s. No. Wait, when would it have been? Oh, when would it have been? I'm going to have to ask my brother, but I remember being shocked. It was much earlier than I had anticipated.
Well, you know, after Jason X, you know, Jason being in space could look back and say that he's gone centuries.
That's right. Exactly. He has.
So when you got the part for Friday the 13th, Part 5, I'm not saying this against your talent, but did you get the part because you were Voorhees?
No. I mean, they were amused by it, but no, not because of the name. But they certainly were amused, no doubt.
Yeah, and you played Tina.
Yes.
Yeah, Tina. There's a lot of interest. This is, of course, A New Beginning was the one that had the fake Jason in it, you know, and Tommy Jarvis, of course, was played by Corey Feldman in the final chapter. Kills off Jason and for the first of many times, I guess, and goes to the halfway house. And I'll tell you what I told Melanie. I tell you, if I went to a halfway house and they had that many beautiful women there, like, I'm sorry, sign me up, commit me. Yeah, but you landed the role of Tina. Now, did you just go in for a standard edition to get that part?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I'm going to get into, before we get into this, we're going to get into a little bit of your background because you are a former Playboy bunny. And I didn't know that until last night when I was looking up stuff on you. And I'm going to tell you that, like, you're gorgeous. Like, I guess, you know, Hugh Hefner knows what he's doing. How did you come to be a Playboy bunny?
It was just one of those things. There was a Playboy club in Dallas, and that's where I lived at the time. So I just went in for an interview and was hired the same day. And I went through bunny training. You have to know just exactly how to dip just ever so right so you don't come out of your uniform.
You still have a pair of bunny ears and a bunny tail?
I have my cufflinks, but no, I don't have my ears or the outfit or anything. We were not allowed to take them out of the place. I was somebody that I really just didn't. If I was told not to do something, there was no way I would have taken that thing out of there. And then I come to find out, my friends, they all have their ears and their bunny tail and everything, and I don't have mine.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I know, but I have my cufflinks. Those were mine. So I got to keep those.
What was Hugh Hefner like?
He was an interesting guy. He was nice. I went to the mansion a couple times. It was a little too wild for me, but Yeah, it was a little too wild. But yeah, no, but it was fun. I mean, I'm glad I went, and there were all different kinds of interesting people. It was a beautiful place, but it was a little wild for me.
But you say you do what you're told, but Tina doesn't do what she's told.
She doesn't. She doesn't. Well, I'm actually not very good at it. I shouldn't say I'm good at doing what I'm told, but I don't take things if I'm not supposed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she definitely was not one to do, and I guess I'm not one for that either. As long as I'm not doing anything dishonest, let's put it that way. I won't do something like that.
Well, in Friday the 13th, Part 5, of course, you were required, of course, to do a very, very big nude scene. Now, were you nervous about that, or was that just kind of like Jennifer Jason Leigh in Fast Times at Ridgemont High? I guess they were saying that she was just happy. I guess in the commentary track, Amy Heckerling was saying she was happy as a clam to be naked. It didn't bother her.
Right.
What was it like for you to do a scene where you had to be nude?
I was definitely a bit nervous about it. I think the hardest part, I mean, everybody on the set was super nice and made things, easier. And Danny Steinman was super kind to me, and he was very gentle in his approach to me. He didn't, he wasn't harsh or anything like that. He was just real gentle, and so that, of course, makes things much easier. They had a closed set, and Robert was really nice. He, we met beforehand to kind of make it a little less nervous. So, for the most part, it wasn't too bad. And when I got to really feeling a bit uncomfortable, or more so uncomfortable, I mean, it's, it is a little unnerving when you're, around basically a group of strangers. And I think Danny was smart. He did it the first day. So there was no building up to it or worrying about it. It's like, we're getting this done with, we're in, we're out, and let's move on, right?
Oh, it was first day?
And, yeah, very first day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very first day. And so I think that was really smart, because, it's kind of like you've got a Band-Aid on, and it's easier if you go ahead and just rip it off really quick rather than pick at it and have it hurt for a long time, and then you're worrying with it and stuff. So, but I think the part that became the most unsettling, though, was once they went and got the mask on. It took quite a long time to get the mask on, and then the blood that they put in my eyes actually burned a lot, so it was very painful. And they put that in the eyes, and then, they're real nice, and they had a robe and stuff, but I had to be led everywhere. And, when you're blind...
Wow. Let's remind people that
at least that part was at the end of the day, and it wasn't like I wasn't worried about anybody, because everybody was just so kind. But it was still a little unnerving to not having any clothes and, be blind. And it hurt. It physically hurt.
Yeah, to remind listeners out there, of course, you were the one that, of course, you and John, is it John Robert Dixon? That's his name, right?
I thought
just a second. I'll look at my sheet. Just a second.
Can
yeah,
you
John
cut that
Robert.
part out if I got it wrong?
No, that's okay. I wrote down a bunch of names. I knew it was a 3-part name. John Robert Dixon. Now, of course, played Eddie. You
Right.
both were killed off with assaults to your eyes. You, of course, got the
Right.
hedge clippers to the eyes. And of course, he
Right.
got his was when he was backed against the tree, and that strap put over his eyes, and that stick put
Right.
through, and twisting. Now, of course, did he have to go through the same process as you, or were you not there for that?
No, I was there for a lot of it. I mean, some of it was shot later, but some of it was shot when I was there. So I guess the actual kill shot, I'm trying to remember if I was there at the kill shot. I was there for part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I was there for the actual final shot or not.
Yeah, I find it amusing. They had that one guy that was a hired worker was watching you guys make out on the blanket though, and he just gets stabbed real quick. I'm like, great entry. Talk about just bringing somebody in, just killing them off.
Right.
But no, those were I'd say two of the more grosser deaths. Anytime there's an assault to the eyes, you need your vision, and
right.
So yeah, so you got they got that all out on the first day, and what was the process like of taking that off? Did they put, you say, a mask? Like, was that like over your whole face or just the eyes?
The eyes. It was like latex. I believe it was made out of latex. Initially, I went in to have the form made to begin with, which was kind of like when you get brain freeze, but you can't stop it. It really froze your head. And but then they use that as the mold to make, to make the mask itself.
Okay. So, yeah. So what was it like working with Robert?
Oh, he was a really nice guy. He was easygoing, kind of laid back. Yeah, he was really nice. I was glad that we met beforehand. It just kind of made everything easier.
Yeah, because he kind of plays the guy that gets on the wrong end of Tommy there earlier on, and gets blasted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you two, of course, are the two that wander off into the wilderness, and of course, which brings me to a couple people that, quite frankly, if they hadn't made the movie just about these two, they would have had a comedy. I'm talking about Ethel and Junior, Carol Locatel and Ron Sloan. How much fun were they?
Oh yeah, no, they were really funny. They were really nice.
Yeah, like
they were pretty hysterical.
Yeah, and it was all because of you two. You two were misbehaving.
Yeah, we were really causing them all kinds of problems, and I just want to say I'm deeply sorry for that. I'm just sorry to upset them.
I loved it when Carol Locatel says, "I have a bomb on me." Like, well, that where? And Ron Sloan, some of those great delivery lines, and tries to be supportive, and he gets told off by her every time. He just sits there in shame.
Right.
Yeah, showing up in that motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Steib. Yeah?
Remember. Oh, sorry. Somebody apparently is trying to call through. I can't block it, so I hope it's not causing a disruption for you.
No.
Okay. I remember one of the funniest things was at lunch when Junior was carrying his head through the lunch line getting his meal. Oh, yeah. I think probably lunchtime to me was the funniest time because of everybody walking around holding the head or an arm or, and all kind of bloody and messed up and stopping and trying to eat their meal. I don't know why that cracks me up, but it did.
Did he try to feed his head?
He may have. I don't know.
Did you guys have some of Ethel's special stew?
Did not. No.
I heard she got a special ingredient in it. She just spews it right in there.
I really don't know what that would have been.
Danny Steidman, though, he as a director, he had a background, of course. I understand he worked in pornography, I believe.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah,
A lot of filmmakers, of course, did because you got to pay the bills.
yeah. Well, it's funny because you can kind of see that in part five because there is a tremendous amount of nudity in part five. Like
Yeah.
even the waitress at the little diner there when she's in the back room pulls her shirt open there, and of course they flop right out, and I'm like, okay,
Right.
it's now a nude beginning.
Right.
As I mentioned, I had Melanie Kinnaman on here last year. Now, I'm still in touch with her on Facebook. I love Melanie, and I gotta tell you, she paid me one of the biggest compliments on Facebook because I got a makeover about a couple of years ago because I never had a girlfriend. And so
Uh-huh.
I struggled with that, and I gave myself a makeover. And I say I'm actually getting more of a favorable take with women now.
Oh,
But
nice.
but that picture, the black and white one that you see on Facebook, I
Mhm.
remember Melanie put a comment underneath it, and she put the word hot. And I'm sitting back thinking, I've had some girls around here that's treated me pretty badly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I'm kind of looking now that when I stop and think about it, I'll take a compliment like that from a woman as gorgeous and beautiful as Melanie Kinnaman any day of the week. I'll put that on my tombstone for all I know. My head was in
I'd
the.
like to see that on your tombstone. That would be funny.
I think I'd put that on my tombstone. Melanie Kinnaman said I was hot.
There you go. There you go.
I'm going to tell you, that felt good to hear that, to have a woman as stunning as she is say that. And
Oh, that is funny. I have
yeah,
a friend of mine. He wants on his tombstone for it to say, "Wish you were here."
wish you were here. Well, friendly of sentiments.
uh,
But Melanie Kinnaman, I'm like I said, I've commented on stuff of hers this week, and she always is very engaging, you know, and she's always been good to me. Got a couple of nice, beautiful autograph pictures from her in the mail last year, and
oh, nice.
I really like her a lot, and I
Hmm.
got a lot of respect for her, and I'm I've always got nice things to say about her when
Hmm.
when I'm online. I'm always saying nice things to her. Although she gets a lot of proposals, but she hasn't got one with me. She didn't get one from me because I know what I'm like to live with. I mean, my cat comes around because, well, I feed my cat, so he's got a reason to come around.
Right.
But I think Melanie's awesome. What was your experiences like with her?
I really liked her. I mean, we got along just fine. I liked everybody on the set. But
Yeah,
yeah, she and we got along great.
I remember the first time I saw A New Beginning. It was I had an uncle that owned a video store way back in the early to mid '80s, and I know we had seen parts 2, 3, and 4 through that video store. In fact, part 2 was the first time I'd ever seen a naked woman. Yep. Talk about education.
That seems to be the case for a lot of young men.
Yeah, well, I got baited into watching that with my cousins, you know, because they were a little
Mm.
devious. And part 2
How old were you?
huh?
How old were you?
Oh, gee. I would have been a young teen at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in girls at that age, so I would have no reason to see them nude. But my cousins, being a little older, were a little
Hmm.
more deceptive. And, well, there was that scene in Friday the 13th, Part 2, and that was, there's like 3 or 4 kill scenes, and that was the scene my mom rushed in and turned the television off at. But anyway, I was saying that I saw part 5 for the first time at a birthday party in junior high, no doubt. Forget the R rating. we didn't.
Right,
We
right.
threw that right out the window. And I think we watched parts 1, 5, and 6. I hadn't seen those at the time, and I remember they were saying the two fellows that I was going to be attending the party with. They said, we don't know if you'll like part 5 because they had mentioned that it's not really Jason. And he said, but they said, you might not like the film, but I guarantee you're going to love the leading lady. And I remember I was telling Melanie, I said, when she comes out that door for the first time, not only was my friends right, but I said, my heart went pitter-patter, though.
Oh.
So I said to Mel, I said, there's people like her at a halfway house. I said, sign me up.
Right, right.
But no, I've always got nice things to say about Melanie, and of course John Shepherd playing Tommy Jarvis.
Right, right.
Yeah, what was your memories of him?
I really liked him. John was a very serious actor, and he really, kept to himself to stay in character. And he was a really nice guy, but, I really respected that he, spent that time to make sure that he gave a really dynamite performance, and he did.
Yeah, and of course, Shavar Ross with as Reggie the Reckless. Do you
He's adorable.
Do you think that he at his house has that little red jumpsuit like framed like a hockey jersey up in his wall?
I have no idea. But he's a really kind man now, and a sweet young man, young boy at the time.
Yeah, yeah, and he had the most girlish scream of the whole movie. You didn't catch
And
that?
Yeah.
But I saw some recent pictures of him on Facebook with Mel, and I guess he's grown up. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
we that's what happens.
well, I guess Melanie was relaying a story about him, saying that he was very reserved, and she come to find out later that he had a crush on her.
Oh, how sweet.
And I was like, yeah, didn't we all?
That's so sweet.
Yeah, I heard that Shaver, I think, went into the ministry or whatnot, and I've seen some interviews like on the Crystal Lake Memories DVD and whatnot, and I think he's done quite well for himself. Yeah.
I have him on Facebook. I know he does post things that are religious, but I didn't know if he was a minister. I don't know if he is or not.
Well, you know what? I've come from a Christian household, and I was baptized and whatnot. But I like the fact that people, especially people who've done movies like this, are okay. You know, they're not turning their back and saying, "Well, I regret doing this." You know, they'll talk about the positive experience of doing this. Because
I mean, it's just a movie. I think that horror films are really a way for humans to, especially when they're young, to start grappling with the idea of what does it mean to be mortal. It's how they deal with and look at death. And, so, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just different.
Yeah, I know Tiffany Helm had said that you had an interesting experience to talk about, and I think it had to do with some, I'm assuming some teaching jobs that you would had. Would that be correct?
Oh, I couldn't tell you for sure what Tiffany would be talking about. But, no, I definitely had some issues with teaching. I was a long time after I left Los Angeles, and it was I went into college and went on to become a journalist for, many, many, many years. I guess, 16 years working with, the Dallas Morning News and the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. And then after that, beyond the 16 years, I still continued to do more for some magazines. And much later, I started writing for the Shakespeare Standard. But in there, I had decided that at some point I wanted to teach, because I felt like I had benefited so much from some wonderful professors in college, and I thought, at some point I want to, pay this back. And so I decided to get my teaching certification. I already had my bachelor's degree. So I went and got a job at Decatur High School, and then later, that was in Texas, and then later at Ruidoso High School. And pretty much, I really honestly, when I first started with the idea of teaching, it never crossed my mind. I mean, Friday the 13th was 8 days of my life, so it's not like it's at the forefront of my mind. And I guess it was about 2 weeks before starting my first job, and a friend asked me, and said, well, what are you going to do if they find out about Friday the 13th? And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, do you think it'll be a problem? And I said, well, I wouldn't think so. But I said, I seriously doubt any kids will recognize me, even if, so I really can't imagine it being a problem. And, the kids love horror films. So
Yeah.
they did recognize me. And, I didn't think anybody would, because, I was much older at that time. So, up until that moment, I was considered, a rock star of a teacher. And once that was found out, it was brutal. But so I was fired from both schools for it.
I'm really sorry to hear that too. And I don't know what their background is, but as a Christian, I find a lot of times people forget that section in the Bible where the woman is caught in adultery, and Jesus says to her accusers, those those of you without sin, cast the first stone. And
Right.
I think they were casting stones in your direction. And how many of them have?
And it was, and I don't, certainly I didn't do anything that was sinful. I mean, they may view it that way, but I certainly don't, feel that way. And, but I did. I had ministers on the pulpit saying, I was a Satanist, and, because of the Friday the 13th, I guess, horror film. Oh, how terrible. So it was hurtful, and I was sad about it, but now I'm back in the film industry, which is where I belong. Among people who are not judgmental.
Well, you know what? You know what it reminds me of? I had an incident that happened about 12 years ago. I actually used the F word in a church, and they asked for it. I got outed. I had a group of people that were on, and some from the church I was attending, that would like to read my film reviews, because I've been a film critic since 1996. And oftentimes, the people that were away, that were on that group email, wanted to hear what was going on in my life. And me and a couple of friends, we'd go clubbing. Now, I don't drink, I'm a designated driver. I know the DJs all over the city here in Fredericton. And I'm very much welcome. I've never been kicked out. But I would often talk, not gossip because I didn't know the people, but I'd refer to funny situations that would happen when people acted out or were intoxicated at the clubs.
Mhm.
And a youth pastor was on that group email, and he decided to. He had somebody come and talk to me about it, and of course,
Mhm.
I come to find out that it was circling around that I was supposedly a drunk and a pervert.
Oh my God.
Yeah, even though I don't drink.
Oh.
And I'm going to tell you, when this guy found out that I had found out, boy, did he beeline for his car quick.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. He wanted, and I actually cut loose with some profanity at the
Mhm.
congregation. And I'm not saying I did the right thing. Actually, it was the wrong thing for me to do, but I reacted. That was like 12 years ago. I don't think
Mhm.
I'd do that now. But everybody in the congregation looked at me like I was the devil.
Right.
And
Right.
they didn't want me to join their congregation. Well, okay. Well, you know what? Jesus certainly accepted me. That's what he died for. And
Mhm.
if that's what they truly believe, they can pull the stick out of their ass. But
Mhm.
the guy later emailed me, and he wanted to patch things up. And I would have met him, except that he mentioned one thing in the email. He goes, he doesn't think Christians, people of God, should be at places like that. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what's funny? Look at the people that Jesus hung out with.
Right.
I'm going to tell you that there was an Easter pageant that was going on here at one point at one of the churches, and we were asked to give out tickets for it.
Mhm.
I took them down to the nightclub,
Mhm.
and I had a doorman and his wife attend it.
Mhm.
That would never happen if I didn't go down there, and they were probably just giving them out to other Christians. It's kind of like
Right.
these, yeah, it's kind of like these faith-based movies you're seeing now. Most of them are really bad, except for The Passion. I thought The Passion was well done,
Mhm.
but
That one bugged me because it was just like there was so much blood. I just completely lost all realism for me because like nobody has that much in their body.
yeah, it was pretty graphic. But I'm going to tell
Yeah.
you, for an R-rated movie, I sat back and I watched to see how many people from the churches were going to attend and a quote-unquote
Mhm.
R-rated film.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I of course, I kind of left that church as a result of that, and
Right.
yeah, I still believe, I still read from my Bible,
Mhm.
but I find that I've kind of disassociated with that kind of point of view that some of
Right.
these people were dishing out. I found it was very unhealthy. It was putting me in an unhealthy state of mind. So when I read that story about you, to a certain degree, I was able to relate.
Right. Right. Absolutely. I can see that. Yeah, that was completely wrong.
It was, it was, and I don't know where Shaver Ross is, whether he's in the ministry or whatnot, but if he is, and he's doesn't look back on this negatively, then I'm very proud of him for that.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything to look at it as negative. I mean, for me, if you are spending your life looking backwards, with any kind of regret, it's not productive. It's not healthy. Now, granted, I mean, I'm sure there's people, have done things so horrendous that would be hard not to regret it. But something like this, I mean, this is not exactly. It entertains people,
Yeah.
and there's nothing really wrong with it. It's a safe scare. It's a safe pretend thing where it's not real, and that's not safe scares. That doesn't hurt anybody, like dressing up as a bad guy for Halloween. That's a safe scare. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. But no, I got nothing against your work in that movie, and like I said, I consider it an honor to talk to you, and they should have considered it an honor to have you as part of their staff.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I've mentioned Tiffany Helm. She had that cool hair, and who can think...
Yeah, she was cool.
Well, she said she still hasn't been thanked by Sindo Echo for putting that song on the on the radar. Yeah, I looked that song up, His Eyes, and of course, she occasionally, she says if she's at the convention, she gets asked to do those little dance moves.
Oh, yeah. Oh, funny. That's cute. I bet she would.
Well,
yeah, she was a fun character. I liked it. I liked her.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun talking to her a couple months ago on here, and of course you had Tom Morga play Jason, but you had Dick Wind as the ambulance driver.
Right, right.
What were your experiences with them?
Oh, yeah. I honestly didn't have a single bad experience. I just liked everybody. Yeah, no, both of them were really nice.
Yeah, and Juliet Cummins, of course, palled around with Tiffany Helm. Yeah. Besides you had a memorable kill scene, but were there any other kill scenes in that movie that you really liked, that you found creative, or were you on set for any of those?
Well, I am not a horror slasher fan. I'm actually get scared very quickly and very easily, and so I don't really watch them. Now, I have watched this film a couple times, but I really couldn't tell you about the other ones. But I am trying very hard to start watching some scary ghost movies, and I'm as bad as any kid. I'll jump up on my husband's lap in a heartbeat. With my hands in front of my face peeking through the cracks.
You mean he doesn't jump up on your lap?
Not so far. He thinks it's pretty hysterical. But I'm trying to get braver about it. I really would like to make as you probably know, I'm a filmmaker now, and I'm really looking to do a really good ghost story. Something nice and scary, and that has some art and some beauty to it. And so I was starting to study that part of the genre. But yeah, you pretty much, if you put me, like if I'm watching a movie, to me one of the scariest things that can possibly happen is going down an empty hallway and the scary music starts to play. And that's just like, that's like the Jack in the Box. It's like, it's going to jump out.
Yeah.
That'll send me through the roof.
I love the old Hitchcock movies, I'll say that. Oh,
I do too. I really do. I love the old Hitchcock movies. I love, I just watched, in the interest of watching some scary movies, I watched The Others. That was really good with Nicole Kidman in it.
Okay.
I really liked that one a lot. And then I also watched Shudder. That was really nicely done, too.
I didn't see Shudder.
You did or didn't?
I didn't. No, I didn't see Shudder.
Didn't? Oh, do. It's really well done.
Did you shudder?
I did. Yeah, I definitely, for both of those, ended up in my husband's lap at a few points.
They've had a few good horror movies out this year, like Don't Breathe and Lights Out, and both Conjuring movies were really good.
Yeah, the Witch.
I didn't see that. We didn't get that. I had an interviewee recommend that to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's out right now. I know that, and I'm going to be brave and do that. But we're doing this in increments.
But I like a lot of the older horror films too, like The Exorcist and Halloween and.
Yeah. No, I think actually The Exorcist is what actually got me, because that was the last time I voluntarily went to a horror film on my own. That thing scared the crap out of me. Oh my God.
Yeah, but they don't quite make them like that anymore. But when it's done well, it's great. Mm-hmm. But when it's not done so well, like the recent Blair Witch, well,
Yeah, yeah. Well, somebody liked it. Somebody liked it, and I don't know. Wait, are you talking about the original or the one that's out right now?
The one that's out right now.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the original. I couldn't take that. I watched the trailer and all that camera shake. I was like, oh no, that'll make me sick.
Yeah, I jumped out of my seat, but not because I was scared. I was like, enough of this.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the shaky camera thing bugs me too, and
yeah,
I've had to leave a few of those movies because I felt sick.
yeah, yeah. If they do it, there's a real gentle shake to it, and there's some great cameras out that they actually have stabilizers in them so that you can get a nice camera movement and get the feel that there's some movements in certain types of scenes that a handheld can really add to, but no real shaky handheld is good. But there's some really nice stabilizers inside the lenses now. Like Sony has some that are just really quite extraordinary. And so it's just this very soft, subtle thing. It'll never make you sick or anything. It'll just make you feel like, you're in the shoes of somebody walking towards someone, which can be a really nice effect at times.
I've been meaning to ask you, on Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning, was that all location work or because I remember you mentioned something about set when your scene was done.
No, it was all location. If I said set, it wasn't referring to like a studio set.
Okay.
I really don't think that they ever went to the studio. I suppose it's possible, but I really don't think so.
Okay. Was that shot in California?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. Because I say one thing, some of the locations in some of those films is very, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, of course, you also, before, I think it was before Friday the 13th, Part 5, you did Avenging Angel.
Right.
And I thought that was funny because unfortunately I have not seen that movie, but I recall talking about that this year, and of course Betsy Russell was on here back in January.
Yeah. She's a really nice woman. I really liked her. I had a lot of fun on that film set.
Yeah. What was now? Since I have not seen the film, tell us about your role and your experience.
I was Roxy. I was one of the prostitutes that was gathered up by the police. Betsy and I had a scene on the street together, and in jail, and on the way to jail. So,
Yeah.
no, that was a fun set. I really liked it. I liked the producer and everybody on it. It was really nice.
Yeah, and of
It was
course,
fun being on the streets of Hollywood, doing a film.
yeah, and of course Rory Calhoun and Susan
Hmm.
Tyrell both in that. Now, did you get to work
Hmm.
with them?
Oh, boy, I'd have to look back. I'm not sure. I remember Betsy.
Okay. Yeah, that's just coming from the mind of somebody who has yet to see the film, but
Right, right.
yeah. So I have no frame of reference for that, but yeah, Betsy I really liked, and of course she's got her own. Um, I'm trying to think what she calls that. I guess she's coaching something to do with. I'm trying to get this right, where about beauty tips and stuff like that, and
What is it about?
well, her web page,
Hmm.
yeah, that's where I ended up locating her. It was on her web page, and she's a life coach.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, she was fun to talk to. You also had
Good.
yeah, you had another couple of movies to your credit too. One, of course, Innocent Prey. Now, were you in Innocent Prey?
Hmm. That one changed to the title Voyeurs.
What's it called?
Voyeurs.
Warriors.
That's with PJ Souls.
PJ
Yeah.
Souls is in that?
Yep, it was under Voyeurs.
Wow, I did not know PJ Souls was in that.
Hmm.
I'm a big PJ Souls fan. I would love to get her
Yeah,
on
I
here.
like her too.
Yeah, PJ is awesome. Did you get to work with her?
I did get to see her on the set, but she wasn't actually in scenes I was in. Other than, she was in a way, because it's when she realizes that her husband's the serial killer, and she witnesses, so she is looking in the window and sees him murder me.
You're not having a lot of luck at staying alive in these movies, are you?
I'm having a really hard time. It was not working out well for me on the death part.
You mean that jokingly or just doing the scene?
Jokingly.
Oh, jokingly.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
joking.
Okay. I was going to say, did something go wrong? And of course, you were in Appointment with Fear.
Right.
You have to make an appointment for
And
that.
I
Huh?
died there too.
You died there too?
Starting to get really, really taking things personal here. Every producer I meet, killer.
You might have to sit down and have a chat with Melanie about survival.
Yeah, maybe she could give me some pointers. Yeah, garden shears through the eye, slit throat, and stabbed in through the chest.
Was that what happened to you in Appointment with Fear?
Yep.
Stabbed through the chest?
Through the chest. Mm-hmm.
What was that like to set up?
That was a good one too. I honestly have always enjoyed my time on the sets, different sets. I think one of my favorite sets too. There's several. I've enjoyed all of them, but one of them I really liked. I did a comedy thing on Riptide.
Okay.
And that was a lot of fun. It was just, being able to be silly and comedic was a blast.
Yeah.
You can find the clip for it. One of my fans, I don't know who it was, but I'm really grateful to him, but they took a clip from Riptide and put it up on YouTube. And if you just put in Deborah Voorhees and Riptide, it'll come right up. And it's really fun. And I hadn't had the chance to see it, and so it was really nice to. I can't remember. Somebody sent me a link and said, "Hey, did you see this or what?" But I found it somehow, and it was really it was fun to see. I was super excited about it.
Yeah, you've got a few TV credits. What were among your favorites to be part of besides Riptide?
Oh, that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun on Days of Our Lives. That was actually a comedic scene as well. And then, I was on Dallas. I worked both behind the scenes with Dallas, and then I did 7 speaking roles on that, plus some extra work, and I did stand-in for several months on that, and that was a lot of fun. I really actually like working behind the scenes more than anything else. When you're there every day, you're a part of everything. You're not just a day player coming on and going, and that's really nice. Of course, if you're an actor and you're there all the time, you're a main part too. But it's nice. To me, it's a lot of fun to work behind the scenes.
You're into you mentioned before you're into directing now?
I do. I write, direct, I edit films, and I also produce.
How was that transition?
Stuff.
I was going to say, how was that transition for you?
Like I said, I love it. I love being on the other side. It's very intense. It's not as much as of play as acting. Acting is it's like a grown-ups getting to play kid games. What a great job. There's some ways that being an actor on a set is extremely difficult in the way that there's a lot of responsibility with making sure that your performance is really natural and believable. And I have an amazing respect for some of our, top actors out there that just, can blow you away with their ability. But working as a director, you are juggling so much. I mean, everything is coming at you all the time. You're dealing not only with all the different departments and, hopefully you have good backup that's helping, handle some of the issues, but ultimately, it gets back to you and, you've got to handle it. But the director's mind has got a lot going on because, you're looking at lighting, sound, performance, blocking, camera movement, everything. And yes, you have people handling those things, but, you're ultimately in charge in making sure that things are being done how they're supposed to. And, it's a lot of responsibility. It's an incredible amount of responsibility.
Wow. I'm glad to see that that this is something that interests you, and it's something that hopefully we'll see more of that in the future from you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You can go to VoorheesFilms.com and you can see I have several music videos on there and some shorts and a link to a feature film called Billy Shakespeare. I have another one coming out called Catching Up, and I'm actively working on trying to package a Western, and I'm also heavily looking for a good ghost story.
A good what story?
Ghost story.
Ghost story. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you get one that really works for you and that pays off for you. You mentioned Westerns. You got any favorite Westerns?
Oh, I think my two favorite Westerns, well, I don't know whether I found a couple others. I really like Unforgiven.
Okay.
I like True Grit, and then I like both versions, the old and the new. And 3:10 to Yuma, I think was extremely well done. Really loved Russell Crowe in that.
Okay. Did you see the older version of it?
I did, of course.
Yeah. True Grit, both versions. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, both versions are really good.
Yeah. Wow. And you mentioned comedy. You get a knack for that, do you?
I love comedy. I have a script right now that I at some point would love to get made. It's called "And the Rabbit Died," and just imagining kind of a 1959 Doris Day woman who it's got a little bit of a she ends up in some very dark moments of comedy, and so it's very much in the style of a Doris Day film, but with some dark comedy, dark comedic moments that Doris Day would have never found herself in.
It's interesting you mentioned that, 'cause I want to bring something up. You remember last year or a couple of years ago when they had the Ice Bucket Challenge?
Yes.
Yeah. After Robin Williams had passed away, there was a new challenge surface called Doubtfire Face.
Mm-hmm.
And it had to do with suicide and depression.
Mm-hmm.
And I embarked on that, and I took part in it. And it involves taking a pie in the face, and you nominate three people.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I did that, and I threw it out there for my interviewees.
Mm-hmm.
And I had Lisa Langlois, one of my interviewees, accept the challenge. And the number of hits that got was, for somebody who's not even an A-list actor, was phenomenal. And I've had,
that's interesting.
Yeah, and I've had some of the Friday the 13th people that are interested in taking part in it as well. In fact, I'm even working on Melanie Kinnaman on this.
Oh, funny.
Oh, yeah. I know Melanie's been busy, but I think she's open to it. I think it'd be great to see her do it.
Right.
Because
I didn't know they were still doing that. I thought that was over, but I guess they're still doing it.
yeah, I was going to say, if you wanted to accept the challenge, I bet you would influence a lot of people.
So you'll have to tell me what I'm supposed to do.
Well, basically, you take a pie in the face, you nominate 3 people, and even if you can throw at least one nominee out to somebody in the industry, great, because that's what people want to see. And if anybody wants to make donations, there's the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, or the Canadian Foundation for Suicide, Depressions, and prevention. And
Right.
yeah,
So
because
you'll have to send me a link to it so I can check it out and see what I'd heard about it, but I haven't, really followed it. So I'll take the link and take a look at it. So I assume you haven't found your 3 yet.
actually, you know what? I did it back in April, and I drew names of people I interviewed, and like I said, Lisa accepted it and she did it, and I've been just kind of gradually kind of throwing it out there to people I've interviewed, because I think that here's the thing with me. My videos only got like 75 hits, but nobody knows who I am. Lisa's is up in the 4 digits. And I've had others, like I know Deborah Shelton accepted it, from Body Double, and Nancy McLaughlin from Jason Lives expressed interest, and yeah, a lot of it's a matter of time,
Right.
getting to do it, but it's a great cause, and it's something definitely to embrace. But I thought,
Right.
yeah. But you mentioned comedy, and I thought, well, the pie in the face is one of the greatest.
That's a classic.
You ever done that before?
I have not.
Well, there. Now you're
But
being.
it is definitely. I remember growing up, that was a big deal with the Three Stooges, or on the Lucille Ball show, or any of that stuff. Yeah, definitely pie in the face.
Well, there. Now, you've been challenged. I can send you
Okay.
I can send you some details on that, and
Yeah, send me some details.
I'm hoping I can get Melanie to do it. Melanie sounded like she's up to it. I think she's been busy, but Melanie would have such an influence for being the
Right.
heroine. Yeah. So, no. But we're pretty much getting wound down on our time. But
right.
wow, like what an honor. You got anything else that you want to add?
I could tell you a little bit more about my film stuff, but I don't know how much time we have.
Actually, we got lots of time. We got lots of time.
Okay.
There's nobody else here. Actually, you know what? We haven't talked about your webpage, and I went on your webpage and looked at your blog. Yeah, and I got to look at it a little more closely because, like I said, since getting this interview with you, I hadn't had time to do too much other than go on Wikipedia. But yeah, tell us about your webpage and where people can find it.
Well, my blog and my webpage are 2 different things, and I really haven't done anything with the blog in a long time. I just put up some samples of my writing way back when from the Dallas Morning News, and some fictional style writing that I have. But my webpage is voorheesfilms.com, and I have a few different things up there. I feel really blessed. I have starting to get some recognition as a filmmaker. I have a short called Hip Hop Hamlet with Brooklyn rapper Devon Glover.
Okay.
And that has been, it's to be or not to be, first in Shakespeare's language and then wrapped in today's language, his language. And that one's been getting some nice play. It was at the Kenneth Branagh Shakespeare Film Festival in England. And then it also played at the Elsinore Shakespeare Conference in Denmark. And that played along with a short I have called Othello, Goodnight, My Sweet, which is the final death scene in Othello. And but then Hip Hop Hamlet is also being included in a German documentary on Hamlet that'll be playing on their, it's like their PBS type station, BBC type station in Germany, and it'll be included in that. It made it through the second round at the Harlem International Film Festival, so that's been really nice. And I've got Billy Shakespeare won the Barty Award with the Shakespeare Standard. Getting a thing going here.
Yep.
And so, I've done quite a few things with Shakespeare. Just love them, and I've also got a lot of music videos out there. But I'm definitely looking to do something with my fans.
You know something? You mentioned hip hop Shakespeare or hip hop Hamlet. Where did that idea come from? That sounds very creative.
There's a Broadway playwright and producer by the name of R.J. Shaw, and he is R.G. Shaw, and he is the person who developed the idea. And he found a rapper outside of Brooklyn by the name of Devon Glover, and they've been putting the show together for quite a while, and I've been working with him for quite a while now. In fact, I just flew to England with him to get some film footage and stuff. He was doing a sonnet marathon from beginning to end, all of the sonnets, 156. I think it's 156, might be 54, something like that. But he did them all in a row and all in hip hop fashion, and so it's a way to teach kids to look at literature and to enjoy it and to kind of embrace and learn about the language. Because learning Shakespeare, it only gives you a much better grasp of the English language, because he's just absolutely brilliant with the way that he spins his words.
Do you have a favorite Shakespeare play?
It would be hard for me to name one, but I could name a few.
Okay.
One, Hamlet is definitely one of my favorites. Othello, though, I think is probably tops it. That's probably, for the dramas, that's probably my all-time favorite. I love Macbeth too, but I think Othello gets me more than anything. Iago's attempt to take down Othello in such a deliberate way. I mean, it's all psychological horror film. And then the comedies, my all-time favorite, hands down, is Much Ado About Nothing. And there's two amazing film versions of it. One is Kenneth Branagh's version, which is, I couldn't even tell you how many times I've seen it. And the other one is, Josh, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember the guy's name and I'm running blank.
Are you talking about Hamlet?
No. This is another Much Ado About Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Version that it's just beautifully done. It's completely different. It's actually treated more as a drama than the comedy that it is. And for Othello, my favorite Othello in film is with Lawrence Fishburne and Kenneth Branagh as Iago. He's just brilliant in that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember seeing Branagh's Hamlet when it was up for Academy Awards, and they played it. And it was one of those films that ended up having a, what do they call that, intermission.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
He had a lot of talent in that. Robin Williams, Billy Crystal, all kinds of talented people in that.
Right.
Do you? I know that's one of your favorites. Is there any other films from Shakespeare plays that adaptations that you enjoyed?
There's several that have had adaptations. Of course, Romeo and Juliet is an absolute brilliant piece. That's another one of my favorites. I love, both the the early version from the, I guess it was 60s, and then DiCaprio's more modern day take on it.
How interesting was that, huh?
But, yeah, I thought it was really nicely done. You could call that, since it was, modern time, you could call that an adaptation. But of course, a true adaptation would be, well, this is more than an adaptation. This is just taking the concept and moving forward with it. The West Side Story. It's just, it's really well done. She's the Man was cute, a cute comedy that was taken from it. There's been several over time that have been really nice. I always love anything where people take and, adapt literature into today. There's a really good Hamlet with Ethan Hawke. I really liked his Hamlet a lot. I thought he did a really nice job on that one. Have you seen that one?
I'm actually thinking, I don't think I have.
Yeah, I really liked it. I definitely was just checking it out. It's well worth the look.
And you mentioned, of course, music videos. It's interesting because I grew up in the MTV age, and my brothers and I used to love watching videos, and a lot of them are really, really creative, and I have a lot of memories from that, and you don't see a lot of that today.
Right. There are a lot of the music videos. They're just mostly on YouTube and stuff. They really serve as promotional devices these days. I mean, people still love them. In fact, it's very hard anymore for musicians to survive if they don't have music videos, because people expect to see things nowadays. Oh, and the other Much Ado About Nothing, it's Josh Whedon.
Okay.
He did a really nice job on that, yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything big, has he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I really like his work a lot.
The Avengers, yeah, he is kind of taken into his own.
Right.
Yeah.
The Lion King is another one that's really neat that's based on it. Many people probably don't remember Kiss Me Kate, but that's a really cute one. It's a take on the Taming of the Shrew. But there's really several things out there. I wouldn't mind doing an adaptation or actually a reimagining of the Othello in modern day with modern day language, but using kind of that concept. I just think that it's a brilliant concept.
Why not? Why not go after that? Of course, you got any ways of making that happen?
I put one foot in front of the other. It's kind of how we get everything
done.
You just have to make that choice to where I'm going to spend my time on, whether it's writing or producing or whatever. But right now I'm really looking at my Western and finding a ghost story.
Yeah. You going to work any more with any of the folks from the Friday films?
I hadn't really thought about it. We'll just have to see. I would be interested in seeing what, what might, who knows, somebody out there might have a really good script. Maybe Victor Miller.
Victor Miller, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he'll have something for a ghost story. Who knows?
A ghost story.
Mm-hmm.
You go star in it?
No, I like directing. I like being behind the scenes, and I honestly don't think it's a good idea to be in a film that you're directing.
Oh, come on. Woody Allen's done it for years.
You really have to have on you have a different hat on, and to go and try and break into being natural and acting while you're thinking about a whole lot of technical things and how this camera movement's going to be. Is this lighting working? How's the set? How's the costuming? They just don't go together. They need to be handled separately, I think.
Woody Allen's done it for years.
He has. And I don't know what his process is. It's not the right process for me. Few people that I've talked to who have done it, they basically end up, when they're on set and it's their time to be on film, they leave all of that to their cinematographer.
Okay.
So, but, yeah, no, I mean, some people have done it very successfully. I just don't think I'm that person.
Well, if you get your ghost story, maybe you can get Melanie and Tiffany in it. You get Tiffany, get that hair, that streaky hair back.
There you go.
Wow. So music videos, westerns, and ghost stories.
Mm-hmm.
I
have a lot of different things, in the lineup, some comedies and stuff like that. I always love a good comedy, but...
Do you have any favorite comedies?
Well, Much Ado About Nothing is definitely one of my tops. Let's see. I'm trying to remember the name of this one. Let's see. Let me just go. Oh, gosh. There's the one that's called something like Henderson.
Mrs. Henderson Presents?
I think that's right.
Judi Dench?
That's it.
Yeah, you got it.
One.
There you go.
I love that one. Let's see. It's the ones that I can sit down and watch more than once. And I guess probably I love the old Doris Day films.
Do you get a favorite Doris Day film?
I have a few. Let's see. Oh, gosh, that's going to be so hard to pick. Let's see. Pillow Talk is definitely up there. Lover Come Back is definitely up there. Touch of Mink is definitely up there. Yeah, it'd have to be. Yeah, I couldn't pick between those.
Lover Come Back and That Touch of Mink. I reviewed both of those, and those were both fine comedies.
Yeah.
We got a thing that we do here every summer. In July and August down, they screen films. They do it free of charge, and people just bring a blanket or whatever, and there's popcorn and stuff down there, and they'll play classic films, and those were two that were played before.
Yeah. Oh, I know. If you haven't seen Miss Pettigrew Lives Free, that's just a brilliant comedy.
Oh, the one out now?
No, that's totally different. This is Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day.
Oh, okay.
It's a comedy. It has Amy Adams in it, and she's just hysterical.
I like Amy Adams.
Really funny. Yeah, I do too. And Frances McDormand plays Miss Pettigrew, and she's just brilliant in the role.
Wow.
Yeah, highly recommend that movie.
Well, I gotta ask, do you ever go to the conventions?
I really haven't been. I've only been to one, but I am going to go to one in Texas Fest, and I think I'm going to go ahead and start doing it. Back when I was trying to teach, I made it for, I guess, total of 5 years. I had been invited to some, and I just was having problems because, it takes a long time to get your certification and stuff. And, and it costs money, and it's your license, and it's your job. And my job was being threatened if I went. And as it turned out, I was Canada anyway.
Yeah.
But and knowing that now, I would have just gone. But I kind of got, pushed in a really bad place, and so I felt like I had to cancel, and I felt really bad about doing it, but I didn't feel like I had a choice at the time. But I'm thinking about I'm gonna go ahead and start maybe doing a few here and there and see how it goes.
Melanie Kinnaman noted that she was surprised that when she went to Germany to do a signing, she said she was amazed how popular the Friday the 13th films are in Germany.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, she said that was a surprise to her. She said she expects it here in in the Americas.
Right.
Yeah, she expects it, but in Germany, that surprised her.
Yeah, I have heard that they do like their horror films, like the Japanese, Chinese. They love their horror films.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to know what it's like in those countries.
Yeah. Well, I would love to be able to get an autographed picture of you. Is there any way I can go about doing that?
Sure, no problem. Usually, I don't have one, but if you, usually people just take like a still shot, their favorite still shot from the film, and send it to me, and when we're out on tape, I'll give you my info, or I'll just email it to you. It'll be easier that way.
Yeah, I'll have to find out how to get a still shot because I don't have a way of printing one off, but I might.
You just have to, all you got to do is you do that Command 4, and then you drag it across. You just pull it up on your screen. You want to make it as big as you can. Pull it across your screen, and then you can just download it on a drive or something. Actually, a lot of places like Walmart, probably Walgreens does it too, where you just, and I'm sure there's places in Canada that, and you can just email the image and then go by your local place wherever they print them up and pick them up. I do that with like family stuff. People will send me something and I'll just send anything I want to print up. You just email it and it's done.
Email it to you and.
No, you email it to whatever place you want to have it printed.
Okay.
Like I can do it like here in town, our Walmart does it. And so I just will email it to them and they'll print it up, and next time I'm there I just pick it up.
I've never done that before. New experience.
Yep. Internet, it's amazing what it can do nowadays.
You say you've only done the conventions only once before?
I just did one. I did one in Arlington back when I lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But I'm going back for Texas Fest in May, so I'm excited about that and see how it goes. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, well, I bet it will be. 'Cause I don't travel. I've never been outside New Brunswick. So
really, seriously, never.
I've never been outside New Brunswick, and I've actually had a couple of my LA interviewees tell me if I'm ever in LA, you have a place to stay. In fact, it was one of the Friday the 13th actresses that said that to me.
Oh, funny. You need to get in your car, and I want you to just drive for the border. I want you to get to the other side so you can't say that anymore. I don't care if you just cross the line and then come right back, but you've got to do it.
I am bad with it, and I admire these people that are able to travel and be able to go places. And here I am here in New Brunswick, and about the furthest I've been, there's 3 cities here in New Brunswick. There's Fredericton, where I live. There's St. John. There's Moncton. I was to Moncton a couple of times. No, wait a minute. No, Moncton once. I saw Avril Lavigne in concert. And that was in I think 04 or 05. Mm-hmm. And I was to St. John. I saw Hilary Duff and concert, which I had to go to because I had backstage passes, and I got to meet her, which was cool.
You've got to get out.
And then I saw Avril Lavigne
there
there
is
too.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no,
It takes me about 5 minutes to get ready to go anywhere. I'm ready. I love to go places.
I guess speaking of going places, like you reside in New Mexico now. Like,
Hmm.
what made you go there from the States?
New Mexico is in the States.
No, you know what I mean.
You mean from what?
Like where you were. I think you were originally like in Los Angeles.
Well, I spent some time in Los Angeles. When I came here, I came from the Texas area,
Oh, okay.
from Decatur. And, you know, it's just New Mexico's it's called the land of enchantment for a good reason. It really is. It's absolutely stunningly beautiful. You know, of course, there's the desert areas, but there are lots of mountains and just incredible beauty here. Yeah, it's an amazing place to live.
You got any
I
interesting
would
animals up?
recommend it.
Any
Oh.
interesting you got any interesting animals up there?
Well, my horse is now living on a huge ranch in Colorado, but he used to be here with me. And I've got four dogs. One is part wolf, and we've got chickens here, and yeah, it's a wonderful place to be.
Well, when you are watching horror movies, your husband has chicken there. Chicken jumping up. Wow. No, but no, that's interesting that you're going through these new process. I hope that the Texas convention, I hope that goes really, really well. I've done some interviews from people in Texas, so
Yeah.
do you ever have anything interesting you've been asked to sign?
Um, Not anything I can think of. I mean, it's usually the normal stuff: posters, DVDs, pictures, that sort of thing.
Well, here's one thing that gets brought up to me, and this is why I asked that.
Mm-hmm.
I asked the interviewees, you know, what's the most unusual thing you're asked to sign, and it always surprises them. And I've heard this even from Friday the 13th people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they'll get people that will have them sign their skin, and then they'll get the
Yeah.
name tattooed on them.
Oh, and that actually, okay, interesting.
Yeah, I think it was Tom Matthews from Part Six who played Tommy
Mm-hmm.
Jarvis in Part Six related that story, and I'm like,
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, yeah, not my thing. I'm not a tattoo
Mm-hmm.
guy, but
Right, right.
yeah, it might be just a little bit too painful for me. Some people say it's not, but
Oh, no, not for me. No pain.
no pain,
My philosophy: no pain, no pain.
no pain, no pain,
Period.
no pain, no pain.
Yep.
No. Well, you know, we're coming up very, very close to 90 minutes.
All
And
right.
oh, yeah. You
Well, I
know,
probably should get to my stuff, but did you have any other questions?
any other questions? Well, I'll send you information on Doubtfire Face and I'll see what I can do about the autograph situation.
Okay.
So I just need to find a picture of you and
I mean,
scan
some
it.
people do it with the posters, send the posters, some send a DVD, whatever you want is fine.
Okay, I'll look into that. It might be a slow process. I mean, we were supposed to talk on Skype, and that didn't quite work today. But
Right, right.
yeah, well, you know, I'm very new to that, so I'm hoping to do more of it in the future. You know, and if you find me on Skype, you know, feel free to add me. You know, but speaking of which, you mind if I add you on Facebook?
Oh, of course not. Please
Okay.
do. I'd
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I've got the other two lovelies I've interviewed from that movie on there, so as well. So
Cool.
yeah, so whenever your interview is done, I will send you the link. And as I said, it'll be here at the station for maybe about 3 months after I send it to you, and then
Okay.
and then I'm going to put it on my YouTube page, and that's where it will have a permanent home. And
Okay.
and you can post that wherever you want to, Facebook,
Okay.
wherever it is, your web page, wherever it is you want to. And I
Okay.
think you said that I could use some headshots of you as well. So
Absolutely. Sure. No problem.
yeah, that would be perfect. So today marks my third interview from A New Beginning. Three
Nice.
lovely, beautiful women. And there's no judgment call from me. I'm saying this as a Christian. I love what you've done, and I appreciate you as a person. I hope
Oh, well, thank you. That's
I
very sweet of you.
yeah, no judgment from me, and I'm going to tell you, that I appreciated what you did with that. So, I hope that there's smooth sailings with you in the future with your ghost story, your Western, whatever it is you do. I wish you the best with it. And if you got anything anytime in the future, like when I add you on Facebook, like if it's anything you want me to promote, or if you
Okay.
want to come back on here to promote something, you just fire me a message, and it can be
Okay.
arranged, no problem. This is free publicity for you.
Well, I sure appreciate that. That's really nice of you.
Yeah. Now, before you
I'm
go,
sure I'll take you up on it.
you know what? Feel free. Do not hesitate. I've had guests come on here twice before, and I have no problem having guests on multiple times.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, before you go, I would love it if you would do a plug for my show.
Okay. What do I do?
Just state who you are, and that you're in Friday the 13th Part 5, or played Tina in Friday the 13th Part 5. Say you are listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise in Fredericton, or actually just say in New Brunswick. You get all that?
Okay. Let me just make sure I get this all right. Hang on. Let me.
I
New
tried.
Brunswick and yeah. Give me just a second. I want to make sure I do it right.
You'd never believe how
Don't
many of them
wanna
flub
mess
up.
it up. What?
You'd never believe how many of them flub up doing this.
Oh, I bet.
But I'll let them do it again and again, because it sounds unprocessed, and it sounds natural, and it's very real, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Writing her all down.
I'm cheating.
Well, you know what? Whatever works. There's no harm in that. Whatever works.
Okay. Two.
What's that?
I'm talking to myself. Don't interrupt. That's what I tell my husband. I mean, I'm talking to myself. He interrupts me. Don't interrupt. I'm very busy. Talking to myself.
Do you have many of the Friday 5 people on your Facebook?
I think I have most everybody.
Yeah.
Quite a few. I mean, I haven't really sat down and counted to see who all I have, but I have quite a few.
I don't know whether it was Melanie Kinnaman or Tiffany Helm. One of them is where I found you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I thought, good, I can reach out. I can reach out. It was this last night that I started really, when you responded, that I started looking you up. I am going to check out your webpage further, though, because I'm quite interested to see what you're doing on there.
Okay, I'm ready.
You're ready? Well, shoot.
This is Deborah Voorhees, Tina from Friday the 13th, Part 5, and I am listening to Greg Gilbert. Let me try that again. I have it written down right. Didn't say it right. I said too much of a C instead of G.
Oh, there you go.
This is Deborah Voorhees, Tina from Friday the 13th, Part 5, and I am listening to Greg Gilbert on Python Paradise in New Brunswick, Canada.
Well, folks.
Can you do that again, or can you just put my Canada and New Brunswick a little closer together?
You know what? That just sounded fine, but if you want to try her one more time, go for it.
Okay. This is Deborah Voorhees, Tina from Friday the 13th, Part 5, and I am listening to Greg Gilbert on Python Paradise in New Brunswick, Canada.
Well, Deborah Voorhees, thank you so much for blessing me with the honor of interviewing you today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, and I appreciate you reaching out to me, and I will add you, and I'll send you details about that other stuff. And you are my third from that movie. That movie's been good to me. So,
Cool. Well, friend me on Facebook.
I will friend you on Facebook, and
All right.
yeah. So hopefully there will be some new beginnings for you in the filmmaking world.
There always is. It's always, I tell people, if you want to make it in filmmaking, make your films. You don't stand around and with your bio and your hat in hand. You go out and you do it yourself.
You go out and you do it yourself. That's pretty good sound advice.
Yep.
Yes. Well, Debi Sue Voorhees, you with that last name.
Yeah.
God bless you, and thank you very, very, very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks so much, Greg. You take care.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.